Sunlight poured through the tall kitchen windows, painting the gold-washed walls with a pretend warmth. The mansion stood immaculate and proud from the street, but behind its polished doors lived a story no one would believe. On that bright morning, the silence of wealth split open with a child's sob. A silver bucket lay on its side, water spreading like tears across the hardwood. A little girl knelt in the spill, her blue dress clinging to her small, shaking frame. "My hand hurts so much," she whispered, pressing her palm to a fresh cut where a shard of glass had kissed skin. Only one person stood near her, the one who should have comforted her. Instead, the woman watched with cool satisfaction, as if pain were a lesson the child needed to learn. Footsteps entered the doorway. The man of the house, powerful in boardrooms, certain in every negotiation, was about to walk into a scene that would reroute all their lives. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of compassion like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner and share your thoughts. Every story we tell is a small reminder that love is never wasted. She was 7, and already fluent in silence. Her father was a millionaire, admired, photographed, praised. Yet his daughter lived like a shadow in her own home. Her mother had died years ago, leaving a tender emptiness money could never touch. In her place came another woman, draped in jewels, wrapped in charm, all smiles for strangers. When the doors closed, the smiles vanished. Chores piled on the girl's small shoulders. Mistakes brought scolding. Punishments followed like thunder. That morning, while scrubbing the floor, the bucket slipped. Glass fell. Pain sliced her hand. Tears burned, not only for the sting, but for the ache of having no arms to run to. The mansion's grandeur couldn't bury the sound that rose from the kitchen. The father stepped in with a leather briefcase and a mind still humming from an important meeting, until he saw her. His little girl, folded on the floor, clutching an injured hand while his wife hovered with measured disapproval. For a breathless second, time froze. Wealth stood face to face with suffering, and there was no deal to close, no contract to hide behind. He had been chasing success for years, believing comfort equaled safety, that a full bank account could cover an empty chair at dinner. But the meeting he kept missing was the one with his daughter's heart. Before this moment, her days had been long and small. She scrubbed floors and polished silver that sparkled but never made her proud. Sometimes she watched light dance on the marble and imagined her mother in it, soft, protective, near. Each morning began with work. Each night ended with tears pressed into a pillow so no one would hear. At dinner she tried to smile when her father looked her way, but he rarely noticed the scratches on her hands or the heaviness in her eyes. She didn't want jewels or mansions. She wanted to be held. Still, she carried hope the way children do, stubborn, shining. Every evening she whispered a prayer to the mother she could not see, asking for protection, asking that her father might one day look past the walls of luxury and truly see her. This morning, the universe chose not to be quiet. The bucket slipped. The glass shattered. Her cry rang through the halls, clear enough to shake something in a man who thought he had already secured everything that mattered. He arrived home early. He walked into the truth. His wife straightened at once, her face settling into polite innocence. But blood on a small hand cuts through more than cloth. It slices through excuses, through lies, through the glossy illusion of a happy home. His briefcase sagged from his fingers. Sunlight blazed at his back, but the room felt cold. He saw the blood drip into the spreading water. He saw his daughter's shoulders shake as she tried to quiet herself, afraid that crying would only make things worse. A memory rose, his late wife in a hospital chair, lifting their newborn and whispering, "She's the best thing we'll ever be given." When had he drifted so far from that promise? He looked at the woman he'd married after his loss. She was beautiful, as always. Red gown, perfect hair, jewels like stars. But beauty without warmth is ice, and today he could feel the chill. The girl's life did not start with broken glass. It started with empty mornings and harder words. Not clean enough. Do it again. She learned to be small, to swallow hurt, to protect the one person she loved most, her father, from the truth of his own house. She feared that telling him would add to his burdens. She thought he might blame himself, and so she kept quiet. But children are not made to carry such silence. And fate, on certain mornings, refuses to look away. He crossed the floor and knelt, not caring that his tailored suit dragged through the spill. The man who negotiated contracts worth millions found his hands unsteady as he reached for something priceless. The little girl flinched, then saw it was him. She let him hold her. He pressed a handkerchief to the cut, his breath caught in his chest. He wasn't only tending a wound. He was touching the years he'd missed. The birthdays overshadowed by travel, the school days retold in 2 sentences at dinner, the goodnight kisses he believed could be replaced with gift. Beneath her tears, he saw fear. Fear that he might turn away again. That look hurt him more than any failure ever had. He lifted his eyes to his wife, and the room seemed to tilt. The empire he'd built, towers of glass, rooms of marble, suddenly looked small next to the smallness he'd allowed to grow in his own home. He understood, with the clarity that comes only once or twice in a life, that love is not a ledger and presence is not a luxury. He wrapped his daughter's fingers with gentle care and, for the first time in too long, pulled her into his arms. Over her shoulder, the mansion gleamed exactly as it always had. But something fundamental had shifted. He made a promise, silent but iron-strong. Everything changes now.